Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Hey, Greg, welcome. You're number one. Boy, you are totally beating Frankie. Frankie, maybe it's just because my start is like late. But welcome. Ninja Bunny, welcome. You are number 2, and Daddy Hoff, you're number 3. Oh boy. I hope everyone's having a good day today. Okay, let's see. Frankie, welcome. Okay, I'm going to stop the music and I'm going to get started. Okay, so welcome everyone, and anyone over on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, welcome. If you want to be heard live on audio, you will have to jump over to Podbean. Okay, so with that said, let's get started. So today, my title is Help Me Live. Help me live. If you were stranded with a stranger or strangers and could only rely on each other, would you leave them if they gave up or could not go on? So if for whatever reason, you guys are in a train wreck, plane crash, whatever, Titanic type situation, just whatever. And you were stranded with strangers. They don't know you. You don't know them. But they gave up. Would you stay with them? Or would you move on? So even if after all your, come on, you can do it, come on, we can make it, and you rest and you stop and rest and do whatever it is you need to do, but they just cannot go on. But you know that somewhere, that on the other side of that mountain or that hill or whatever, I know I sound like a movie now, that there is life, that there is help. And the only way you're going to live is if you go towards the help. Would you leave that person? Would you, leave them and with the intention of coming back, to bring help? But do you allow them to stop? Do you allow them to make you not go on? Do you think that you would, and I know the situation, you can't predict what would happen, but do you think that you allow them to get into your head where you just assume or think that, you know what, we've been going on and on for days or whatever, no one's coming, let's just stop it now and that's it. Welcome, Heiko, and welcome, Bully. So Ninja Buddy says, I don't think I could just leave someone. I'd feel guilty. Okay. But would you be leaving them, or would you be leaving them with the intent on knowing that somebody has to go on to find help? So is it leaving them with the intention of coming back? And again, you have every intention of doing. You go get help and you tell them, where you were, and you bring back help. I mean, how many times do you hear about people who have been in car wrecks and they've driven off the road, but they weren't seen from the road? and people are out looking for them, but for whatever reason, they're not seen in that particular place. Sometimes you can't wait for someone to come help you. Sometimes you have to help yourself. So is it feeling guilty because you're leaving someone? Or is it the fact that you're trying to go and get help so you can bring back help for those people? Now, I would feel guilty if I left them and I found help and I never said anything. Okay, that's guilt. But if I left them thinking that I could save myself and save them too, or the situation could be where they decide to stop, they can't go on, so they choose to stay and possibly perish there. But at the same time, you could perish too. You could also you could lose your way or whatever, and everyone dies. Okay, and Grit says I would definitely stay with them. Okay. Bully says, Bully, yes, Blunt Ninja changed your name to Ninja Bunny. Okay, let's see. Like the new name. See, Ninja. People are liking the new name. Yeah, I guess I could leave to come back. Me, I am telling you, I am leaving. I am leaving. It doesn't, because to me, it's like if everyone is caught, um, in a fire, is everyone just going to stay there and say, okay, someone's going to come? I mean, someone very well could come. But doesn't, but it also makes sense that what if someone says, well, no, I think that we should go. So again, are you leaving them because you're saying that you would stay with them, but at the same time, shouldn't they go with you? I mean, who decides who stays and who goes? I mean, um, people are saying, well, no, I would stay with them, but what if staying with them is the wrong decision? But then again, going with you could be the wrong one too. So, and plus, when you think about it, what if you have family? What if you have children, mother, father, whatever? Are you going to stay with the people who have just given up? Or are you going to think about your family, your children, and say, I need to do whatever I need to do to get back to my family? And that's how I'm thinking. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get back to my family. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to save myself. And in the process, I could probably save them also. Because if you're just giving up, oh, I'm tired. I just can't go anymore. I can't go anymore. That to me is a defeatist attitude. So, but that's just me. Let's see. Grit says depends upon the situation. If I left, yes, definitely go and get help. Yes, definitely go and get help if you were able. Yes, and I would expect for them that if you left and help found their way to them, I would expect them to say, "Hey, there's somebody else out there. She went that way. He went that way to get help. Whatever." I would expect that they would do the same thing. Let's see. Grit says, I suppose the decision lies with yourself. Ultimately, yes. Um, you have to manifest your energy. Yes. If you're negative all the time, that's how you'll feel. And that's a good point, Bully, because if you just give up, that's negative energy. Welcome, Power Girl, and welcome, ASTX. um you know that is defeatist. That's defeatist, and it's negative. um and usually when you start to do that, um you start to other people start to pick up on that. Yeah, no, we can't go on, we should just stay here, we can just, we should just stay here. And how many true stories have you seen where you had the people who wanted to stay and the people who wanted to go? The people who went usually lived. The people who stayed usually died, or they would have died if the other people did not go to get them. There are times when you have to, in my opinion, where you have to just get up and say, I need to help myself out of this situation because no one may be coming. And what if you're in a situation where, you're in a flood or something. When first responders are running around, trying to help everybody, you can either stay or you can try to help yourself. What do you do? What do you do? So let's see. Okay, Grit says you need to switch to beast mode when you find yourself in this situation. Exactly, and that's why I'm not feeling guilty about leaving anyone. If it means that my survival, if it means your survival, if it means me getting back to my family, I'm leaving. I'm going to take that chance because it is, and it's 50-50. 50-50. I get lost or can't find anyone. 50-50. You stay where you are and you perish, or you stay where you are and you're found. So Bully says you're always going to be disappointed if all you remember are your failures. Bully, I agree with you 100%. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Let's see. Who else says something? Thank you everyone for liking the show. Welcome, In Hilal and DMAC. Welcome, welcome. So what do you do? Let's see. Dina Ramirez. Okay, you are over on Twitter. She says you would leave and get help. Um, Bobby Shamar says for help from what is not good to die. I mean, and again, for people who are just coming in, my question is: if you were stranded with a stranger or strangers and could not rely on and could only rely on each other, would you leave them or leave the group or whatever if they gave up or could not go on? Would you just stay or would you leave? So I mean, but think about, do you think that if someone, I'll pose the situation, the question like this: what if you're in this group and you're stranded and you guys have been walking for days or whatever, and there's always one or two people who want to stop, and you stop and you rest, whatever. But then you want to go on. And then all of a sudden they start trying to guilt you into staying. Like, well, if you leave, what about us? Or we should all stick together, or we should do this. I mean, is that right? I mean, if you want to stay, stay. But if I want to go and try to get help, I'm going to go and try to get help. So that's, I don't know. So anybody want to jump up on the panels? Hey, Tunnels. Hey, Dina. Welcome. So okay, so Tunnels, I know you're just coming on, but I'm going to ask this because I know you have a large family. So I am going to ask this to you. So if you were again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but people are still coming in. If you were stranded with a stranger or strangers and could only rely on each other, would you leave them if they gave up or could not go on? Now, Tunnels, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. All right. So, um, would you, if it was just you, if it were just you, would you leave them to try to get help, or just try to survive yourself? Would you leave the group, the strangers? You don't know any of these people because you're thinking about your family, that you need to get home to your family. My second part question is what if some of your family were stranded with you? Okay. And Some of them could not go on. The others were like, come on, we got to keep going. We, got to keep fighting. We can do this. We can try to, reach that road or whatever. I don't know. Do you leave the half that want to stay? Do you encourage everyone to go? Do you make everyone go? Do you make everyone stay? What do you do? And that's for everyone. I mean, what do you guys do if you were with your family and some wanted to go and some wanted to stay? What do you do? No problem, Tuttles. Let's see. DMAX says convince them that there's no point in staying put. Okay. Tuttle says my prime directive is always to get home to my family. Okay. And Tuttle says I make my family leave. Okay, and Grit says if you stop moving, you will die. Okay, now Grit, you're kind of changing your story here. So are you changing it now because some of your family could be involved, or you would just even if it weren't your family, you would want to keep moving. So I guess Grit, I'm going to ask you: would you still feel guilty if you left? Would you still feel guilty if you left? Because for me, I would make my family go. I would make them go, period. You are going. So let's see. Grit says, I speak for myself. I would, I speak for myself. Are you saying how I would feel if I stop? I will die. Okay. You know, and you know, when you wait, hold on. Tuttles wants to come up. So hey, Tuttles.
Hey, hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
uh, yeah, you do remember I am a prepper too, right? So
Yep.
my assessment of situations are sometimes a little bit better than some other people's assessment of situations.
Okay.
But my prime directive is always to get home to my family. And strangers or not, like I would do what I could to make sure everybody was stabilized and, possibly able to take care of themselves. But I'm sorry, y'all, but I'd be out. I'm trying to get home to my family, make sure they're all good.
And I am with you 100%. So, what if some of your family members now you said that you would make your family leave? What if some of your family members didn't want to leave? What if some of them, I just can't, I'm too tired, and the other ones were like, come on, let's go, let's go. I mean, do you leave half of them, or what do you do? I mean, you make everyone go?
I would make them go, tired or not tired, because we got to get back to get our unit back together.
Okay, all right, all right. So, do you think that anyone could make you feel guilty for leaving them? Now, I'm take the family part out. Let's go back to the strangers. Do you think anyone can make you feel guilty for leaving? Let's say you're a firefighter, okay, and you know that what you need to do in order to get to safety. Do you think that someone would be able to say, "Oh, Tuttles, but what about the rest of us? You know how to survive, whatever." Would you just say, look, y'all better come on, or I'll send back help.
Well, the situation is like if you tell a person this, and this is what you have to do to get out of the situation. This is what you have to do to survive. And if they can't comprehend it for some reason, they're just too dumb. It's on them. I'm not feeling guilty. Like if I'll give you my last freaking bottle of water. I'll stay thirsty till I get home. You know what I mean? Like I'll do all that stuff, but nobody's gonna make me feel guilty for staying in a situation where I know I got to get to help my family and stuff like that. Because if I tell them that you have to do this, and this, and then they choose not to listen after the fact, that's on them. That's not on me.
But
I've done all I could do.
But you always have that one person who doesn't want to listen.
I hate to say it. What's that word? Natural selection.
Well, yep,
I'm
yep.
unfortunately a bit of a hard ass when it comes to certain things like that, and you have to be for the betterment of your own family. Home first. And if you're not going to listen and you're going to be a dumbass, then natural selection, I guess, it just is what it is. I'm sorry.
Well, I will say that you're nicer than me because I'm not giving up my last bottle of water. That's just not going to happen because if I'm out there, trying to walk and whatever, trying to survive just like you, I'm not giving up my last bottle. Mm-mm. That last
Well,
bottle may
with
help me get to help.
my skill set, though, I do know ways to stay hydrated and different ways of getting hydrated and stuff that a lot of people don't.
So can't you
So,
just tell them how to do that?
well, see, in an actual situation, when you're dealing with a real situation, you try to make everybody's. My first aid kit always has candy in it. And I talked about this on Gesture Show, and this is exactly why. When an incident first happens, it's just full on panic. So you got to take those few seconds just to breathe
Hmm.
and assess the situation. And if everybody's tripping out, nothing's ever going to happen. So like if you have candy and there's kids there or even adults, here, suck on a lozenge, here, get a little bit of sugar in you. Let's just sit here and talk for a minute or two, and then you assess the situation. That usually ramps stuff down. And a lot of people, unlike me, will panic if they don't have, say, like a bottle of water in their hand because they think they're going to dehydrate in a day and die, even though you won't. So it's just a matter of having those people be calm so they can be smarter over the whole situation, if that makes sense.
It does. So, what if you're in a situation where, again, you're among strangers and you find out that, one or two people in the group are like you? They know what to do um, in a situation. Welcome, SYZ, and welcome, DOS, and they know what to do in a situation. But all three of you want to leave. Do you think that it's smart to leave one person back who knows what's going on, or that's not fair to that person? That person wants to keep going, then they should be allowed to keep going.
Like I said, it falls under the same umbrella. Like if I'm out there with Jester and say, uh, that other prepper, it doesn't matter. Anyways, say me and Jester are out there in a situation. He wants to get back to his family, and we instruct these people what to do to survive. He's gonna leave if he wants to leave. I'm gonna leave if I want to leave. There's not gonna be any guilt there, no nothing. I don't have a problem with it. If you want to get going to move on to your family or to a better situation, and you've told these people how they can, be okay, you've done your part.
Okay. So I want to ask the panel, the people who came on at the very beginning. First, I'm going to welcome Ruthless and Badir. Well, welcome. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Um, I want to ask the panel, when you guys first came on, would you change your or would you switch now and say that you would leave as opposed to staying, as opposed to feeling guilty and staying? Would you leave now or would you still stay? Let's see. Heiko says no. I don't know what no is. No, I agree with Tunnels. Okay, so at F1, you agree with Tunnels. Okay. Da, da, da. Everyone's liking the show. Thank you. Uh, where am I going? Okay, so again.
Three blind mice, see how they run. Where the hell are they going? They're blind.
Okay. Okay, Ruthless, again. So if you were stranded with a stranger and could only rely on each strangers and could only rely on each other, would you stay or would you go? Would you stay or would you go? If they could not go on, if they gave up, if they gave up for whatever reason, and they could not go on, would you stay or would you go? So that is the question. And welcome. Oh, they left. Okay, Grit.
Hey, welcome. How's it going?
Hey, good, perfect sound today.
Yeah, got my different headset on.
So, what are you changing your story? You keeping your story? What are you doing?
Um, no, I keep my story. I think I agree with Tuddles. If that person really can't move or carry on, um, I would leave them and find help. But if there's a situation where they can make it and they don't take your advice to get up, then that's on them. I'm not going to feel guilty for them
Okay, but
not
at
making it.
first, but when you first came on, you said that you would feel guilty for leaving them.
No, I didn't say I feel guilty. I said I would leave them, but I would definitely get help.
Okay, okay, all right. My apologies. So why do you think that? I mean, do you think that when people give up in certain situations where it's life or death, or just do you think that they just truly feel that they can't go on, or they're just really, really tired, or they're just not wired to be that person who says, I'm going to keep going, we're going to keep fighting? They're just not that person, that they've probably always been like that.
I don't think so, Solid. I think it might probably be a like a mental state. Um, like they've hit that panic mode. They their body feels like they can't move on anymore. Um, and they're just like giving up. I think it's people that are strong-willed can probably push through that stage and manage to make it to the other side. I think it's more of a mental situation.
Okay. Now, Ruthless says, I rely on strangers better than people I know. So you would rely on strangers, Ruthless, if you were in a situation where you were stranded. You would think you would be able to rely on a stranger, as opposed to if you were stranded with a friend or a family member. Let's see. Daw says, if I leave, there would be trouble. If I stay, there would be double. Okay.
Me and Dose
Uh,
are just joking around because we're playing the song "Should I Stay or Should I Go" now, so we're putting all the words in.
Oh, okay. Ruthless says, I would stay. You would stay. Oh, okay. All right. All right. See, I'm sorry. I just can't. I just can't. Let's see. I've never felt guilty for leaving anyone behind. Hey. Let's see. Should I stay or should I go? Ruthless says, I've learned not to rely on anyone at this point in life. Okay, so again, Ruthless, you are stranded somewhere. You don't think that you would have to rely on that other person in some way in order to survive? And I'm even saying, even if you decided to stay or I decided to stay and the other person decided to go, you're still relying on them, hoping that if they do make it out or get help, that they send help back for you. So in a way, that's kind of relying on them. They would probably rely on me more. Well, if you're staying, I'm not. I'm not going to be able to rely on you, so that's not going to work for me.
do you
Tuttles,
want a do you want a prime example of all these scenarios you're putting
sure,
forward?
sure.
Look up when you have time a documentary on the Donnelly Party
You know what? And that was
or the
the
Donner Party. Sorry, the
that
Donner
was the
Party.
one who were trying to make it through the snow, and they got stuck, and I think did they all die, or some people made it out.
A few people made it out, not too many. But what ended up happening was some people were making decisions, trying not to move on, and then they hunkered down, and then they got snowed in, and basically it screwed them right over. And then everybody was eating everybody's foods, and Apparently, there's some rumors that cannibalism had taken place. They were eating like their leather shoes and all this stuff. Like, but some people, the people who said they were going to go get help, they actually survived. So what I don't understand is these people were able to go find help and survive. Why the hell didn't everybody just, pull up your boots and friggin' go with them
But
instead of
wasn't
staying
but
there?
but wasn't part of the story where some people felt like the people who were leaving to get help, didn't the people who stayed, they thought that the people who were leaving were going to, because the bad weather was coming, that they thought that the people who were leaving were going to be the ones that were caught in the bad weather, and the people who were leaving were saying, no, you need to come and get out of here now, because if you don't, you're going to be more screwed than us. And that's the original reason why the people who stayed didn't go, because they thought that they would get stranded because bad weather was coming. They assumed that they would be able
Yeah.
to, make shelter, food, whatever. So
Yeah, and it just didn't work out for them. But as far as I'm concerned, a body in motion stays in motion, and if you stop, you're dead.
yeah, yeah. So as a prepper, would you say that is easier to survive if you were in a situation like the Donners, where at least with the snow and everything, you at least had water or something to drink, as opposed if you were in the Sahara?
Oh, I could survive the snow way, way easier than the Sahara Desert. 100% for sure.
So
Because the
would
snow can
you,
be your friend. Because as long as you can have food, you can drink that snow. You can turn it into water, no
right?
problem. You could boil pine cones and pine needles and stuff for extra little nutrients and stuff. But when you're in the desert, that's like the worst of the worst.
So if you were in the desert, and let's say, and I know this is in the desert because I've seen some of them. And sometimes you have those weird, like, there could be like this tree that is there, or there could be like this, there could be a hill or something, and people are like, oh well, we can just stay here for the shade, and somebody will come. So if you were in that situation, would you still stay, or would you go? If you had the water to like make it, say, for 3 days, do you think that you would stay put, or do you think
In,
you would try to make it, or either way you would not survive?
in the desert, you're
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
I would be on. I'd be on the move, but I'd be moving at nighttime, not during the daytime.
Right. Okay. Okay.
In
So
the
do you think that
daytime,
if you did that, if you did do it like that, you think that you would eventually get out if you knew
yeah.
the direction that you should be going?
Oh, frig, yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. All right.
But the one thing too, though, like what people say when you're out there or whatever, and if you're thirsty, not to eat snow. The problem with eating snow is it lowers your core temperature. And if you're already out in a cold situation, you can't never warm up. But as long as you can have a fire and you can melt that snow and turn it into like a good temperature or even like a warmer, drink,
Hmm.
it's perfectly fine. It's just they don't want you eating snow because it'll lower your core temperature. And if you're out in the middle of a cold thing or stuck in a blizzard somewhere, if you get cold, you're dead.
Okay. Okay. And it's interesting because my dad always told us, drive as though you're going to get stuck.
Yep.
And to this day, it's like I have all this stuff in my car, just in case I get stuck, because you just never know, you
Well,
know.
especially when I was a vanner, like I literally lived in my van for like 18 months, so eh, I could live in my van. If I was out in the middle of nowhere and my van got stuck and I was there with me, my wife, and our kids and stuff, we'd be fine.
Now, is that in wait, hold on. Welcome Daniel de Graff Oswu and CPR. Would that be, you would be able to survive in your in your van in any situation? When I say any situation, I'm talking about weather-wise.
Pretty much, except for like Arizona desert crap. That's you keep me away from that place.
Okay. All right. All right. You know, um, from my house to Vegas, it's about 4.5 hours. And when I drive back and forth, you're driving through a stretch of the desert. It amazes me every time I make that drive. It amazes me how many people you see stranded and they don't have anything. I mean, seriously, and there's two gas stations. I think there's two. And literally, you don't look at your tank and say, "Well, I think I'm going to make it to California, or I think I'm going to make it to Nevada." It's like if you see the gas station, you need gas. Stop and get gas. But again, you just see people all the time who are just stranded, and I just never understood that. I never understood how you're going to be driving through a stretch of desert, or even if it was just a long deserted road or whatever for miles and miles and miles and miles, and it was nothing there, that people are not prepared. Welcome, the only crazy lady, that guy, and Abalayo Shola. Again, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. So I don't know, you know. So that's when I see people like that, it's like, nope, I gotta go, because if I stay with you guys, I probably won't make it.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, especially when it comes related to cars, I think that personally, when you go to like driver training, they should, teach you how to drive is obviously the number one thing. They should teach you how to change a flat tire.
Mm-hmm.
They should teach you how to boost your battery.
Mm-hmm.
And they should teach you to have a jug of water. Because even if your vehicle overheats and you're not thirsty, you need a jug of water to get your vehicle to cool down. Like if it,
Yeah.
whatever. And, like a box of granola bars goes a long way. And a blanket, roadside blanket, like all that stuff. That should all be part of your driver's training, as far as I'm concerned.
And it should be. Let's see. Ruthless said, "I live with my ex-wife. I can survive anywhere." So, so what do you think? Welcome, Nampu. You guys are getting me with these names today. I hope I'm not. Well, I hope I'm pronouncing them as close as I can. Um, you have a great afternoon too, Ruthless. Thanks for stopping by. So why do you think that people are not more prepared when they go out? And I'm not saying if you were in a plane crash or something like that. I'm talking about just getting in the car driving. If you're on your bike and you know that you're going to be, biking for a couple of miles, why don't you have water? I mean, why do you think people literally leave their house and get in their car, and do they just assume that it always happens to someone else? It's not going to happen to me. They don't take the time to do it. They don't care. I mean, what? Grit, you wanted to say something?
Yes, solid. I think it's just like crazy lady said, idiots or stupidity. If you know you're going to be traveling, on your bike for a couple of miles, um, anything can happen. So take some water or something with. But I think Tuddles is quite. He makes quite a good point with keeping stuff like that in your car. Um, I probably would like to hear a show on like prepping, stuff like that. Would be quite interesting.
Okay. All right. Now, that guy says, I had the best DMV person ever. They were tired and it was 5 p.m. They had me drive a fourth of miles and said, a quarter mile, and said, turn around. Didn't have me do a parallel park, just gave me a pass and said, I can tell you're a good driver, and let me go. How old were you, that guy? Were you just getting your license, or maybe that's when you go right before they close? Okay, 16. Okay, all right. So, Tuddles, do you like, for your family, um do you make them like go through survival things, or make sure that if they're in their car that they have this and this?
I try to, but my brother and sister really don't. My dad does, because my dad, he's I guess me and my dad are a different breed than my brother and sister. Like I was an only kid. I was raised by my grandparents. My dad had multiple kids with multiple ladies. Later on in life, we all got to know each other pretty well, and like we're good friends and stuff. But my sister doesn't prepare anything because she knows I'm an over preparer, and she just feels like when shit hits the fan, she's gonna be able to come on my shoulder, and. And unfortunately, she's right because I do put a little extra aside just for that family. But they people don't think anything's gonna happen to them until it does.
Okay.
But for me also, like my preps and stuff, I keep in my vehicle. Like if me and my kids and my wife we're just out for like a Sunday cruise and we just want to pull over somewhere and have a picnic or something, like we have the blanket, we have juice boxes, bottled water, you know what I mean? Like I'll have to stop at a grocery store or whatever, grab a loaf of bread and some lunch meat, but like if it's just part of life for us. Like we'll be out cruising somewhere instead of going to McDonald's, I'll just grab something at a store, make up some sandwiches, or I used to always carry around a barbecue with me. We'd cook up sausages somewhere and but like I said, we already had like, everything in the vehicle ready to go. It's like prepping for me isn't really just like I'm a prepper. It's actually I pretty much live my life as a prepared person. Like my vehicle at any given day I can go have a picnic anywhere. I could go fishing anywhere. I have a couple extra blankets in case there's like something happens somewhere and you got to put a blanket over somebody, you know what I mean? So that's just my lifestyle, I guess. I don't know. My
Okay.
dad's the same way because he traveled the highways a lot. He's an ex-biker. They'd pack as much as they could in their Harley, and he'd drive to Texas from Canada. You know what I mean? And he always had a little bit of crap that he needed with him, and then when me and him started going up north, he had a van. We'd load some extra stuff in the van, not much because he already had a hibachi in there and sleeping bags, just because he always carried it around. We'd go drive 8 hours up north, fish all night, and then 2, 3 in the morning when the fish aren't biting no more, we'd lay down the back of the van and sleep in sleeping bags. But all that stuff in emergency situations also comes in handy as well, right?
No, no, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Bobby Shamar over on YouTube says, "I will stay and survive. I will feel guilty if I left." And then he says, "Water is good and healthy." So I don't know, Bobby. I can't stay. I cannot stay because I just think that life is always beyond where you are. If you're in that type of a situation, waiting around for someone to come and help you, um, nope. It's to me, you're pretty much are going to die, especially if you're in an area that's just very remote and no one even knows that you're even there.
Not
So
even necessarily remote. Imagine the people downtown when 9/11 happened. Like, I have a buddy, his name's GGP. He's a professional wrestler. He does podcasting on Star Wars. He was actually in one of the office buildings that was like a block away from the World Trade Center when that happened. And his first instinct was just to get the fuck out and get back across the bridge and get to his house to make sure his kids were okay. And he hoofed it like himself.
no,
He said it took him a
and that
long time.
and that's a good point because when something like that is happening, you don't know what is going on. Everybody's just going to run,
Hmm.
So yeah. That guy says prepacked food is a false economy. That guy also says it's always cheaper to make it yourself unless it's real complicated. Anything is always cheaper to make yourself. Anything is always cheaper to make yourself.
That's what I was
Um,
trying to explain last night on the Prepper channel too, but that's another story for another day. I basically told people that say they can't afford to prep how to be able to prep without changing any of their lifestyles.
well, I'm not a prepper, but I do keep certain things handy. I do you know have food in my fridge that I've made and stuff in my car and in my garage and yeah. Let's see. That guy says people were built to function. I assume you mean function in tribes, not alone. Even if the tribe tribe is 4 people or 400. Okay. Personally, I love the Doomsday Prepper podcast. Yes, I like Doomsday too. So
He started a Discord, and there's a lot of interesting information and good questions and answers
I
on there.
saw that. I saw that. In fact, early this morning, I saw that. So yeah, you know, do you think? And again, I can't because 9/11 was just different. 9/11 was different because it's not like they were on ground level. I mean, you were in this big, tall building. But do you think that if a lot of people knew how to survive, they could have, or either way, it just wasn't going to happen?
It just depended on what floor you were on, because you were sort of cut off if you were above where the planes hit, right?
Yeah. But then again, they didn't know that the towers were going to come down either.
Yeah, but there was plenty enough time to evacuate before the towers came down. You had a few hours before that had happened. So, but the problem that people were having was all the smoke, and then the people from plane level up, there was like fire was going up into that areas and stuff like that. Like if you were above the airplanes, you were pretty much cut off from the world, and you call your family, say I love you one last time.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. That guy says it's always okay. Well, I read that. It's always cheap to make your own. Let's
Remember?
see. The FBI looks pretty bad if you actually read the 9/11 Commission. I did read the 9/11 Commission. In fact, I have it. It took me forever to read it, but
Yeah, that's a different story
I
for a
did
different
read it. But
day.
that's a different day, so we're not going to say thank you, Tuttle. So yeah, we're going to stay on topic here.
I use that line about as much as can you hear me?
That's okay. That guy. I've had a couple of derailments lately, so I'm trying to kind of stay on topic. Let's see. You want to ask Tuttle something? Yeah, go ahead, Grit.
Uh, yeah, I wanted to ask Tuttle something just quickly about prepping. I know it's sort of a little off topic, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a large community in South Africa actually called the Statelanders. Um, they basically sort of a prepping group as well, but they prep for what do you call it? Oh, darn it. Um, they prep for civil war basically. So that was on a TV show in South Africa. Like they came and interviewed these guys. They got like bags packed, ammunition packed, food packed, ready to basically break out for war. Is your prepping for basically like survival? If there's one day no food, or is it prepping for whatever scenario?
Most of the time, people who prep, like when you go on like those doomsday prepper shows and stuff like that, they just basically want you to pick a scenario just so they can title you as something. But just in general, most preparedness people are prepared for multiple situations.
Okay, cool.
Does that answer your question, Grit?
Yeah, I suppose that'll do.
That'll do, pig. But just in general, no, yeah, people who are prepared, like if you're prepared for something like that, you're also prepared if like, there's a power outage for a week at your place. You're also prepared for like a natural disaster as long as your house isn't the one getting squashed, like just being prepared in general as far as I'm concerned. It's not as, I don't know, pigeonholed as they make it seem on like the TV show.
Okay, so you're saying that if that no that if you're prepping, then that prepping should pretty much cover the scenarios that could happen.
Yeah, because you need food, you need water, you need shelter. Those are your three main things you deal with. And you need food, you need shelter, you need water, no matter pretty much what the scenario is, right? So you have those three basic things. But then you also have the time where you have to evacuate. So you have to have your food that you can take with you. You have to have your liquids that can take with you, and your filtration systems that you can also take with you if you lose your shelter. So, but you always have the water, you always have the food, and you do your best to always have the shelter.
And
So no matter the situation, then after that point, then you get into, depending on the prepper situation, like self-defense, because some other assholes who are not prepared are going to try to jack you for your shit. So you got to take care of your stuff, right?
Okay.
And
Now,
then first aid stuff for injured people. And
the only crazy lady says, my dad was ready for the second Civil War. Crazy lady, are you up here? I don't see you, so you'll have to start talking. Then you'll probably pop up.
Yeah, I was ordering. I was excuse the background noise. Seriously, my dad was like prepared. Uh, well, not anymore. But anyway, he had 3 storage containers like buried up in the mountains, and one was an armory. When I say it was an armory, I'm not kidding. It was an armory. One was stuff that you could live without, but just makes life just a little bit more pleasant. And the third one was full of like medical supplies, um, ration stuff. One whole back wall was like every handbook that the military put out. Like the military handbooks, like they go step by step to do like anything. And he had all of those back there. He was prepared all the way around. I grew up like that, so.
And I still think that's a good thing, because it still amazes me, especially people who have children, that they're not prepared, especially in your car. You drive with that first aid kit, even if it's not a prepper thing. You have kids get hurt. You have that first aid kit in the car. But with the fact that nowadays, Juju, welcome. Nowadays you have, some places get fires, some people get hurricanes, you have floods, earthquakes, you have some of everything everywhere. You would think that people would be more prepared, but they're not. They just don't. So I don't know. I don't know.
People don't even shop for like 2 weeks at a time anymore, or a month ahead of time. They ship like Tuttle said, day to day.
Right.
It's
Right.
shocking to me.
Right. Welcome, chill. So it's like, would people in some situations, would they have survived had they been prepared? Even if it's just that little box that you keep, off to the side or up under the bed, whatever, would they, would they have increased their chance of survival if they were, stranded in their home and they truly could not get out or something? That you had that emergency water, you had that just to survive until someone hurt you or was going by doing a house check, whatever, or would you have survived? So let's see. Oh, thank you, guys. I am almost there. If you guys could hit the like button, I'd appreciate it. Okay, and Crazy Lady says I have been in that situation. So what situation was that?
Oh, it was, I can't remember what year in the 90s, but I was living in Hettinger, North Dakota, and we got snowed in. I mean, it was like a horrendous snowstorm. And the snow was above, I was in the ground floor apartment, and I opened up my windows, and all I saw was a wall of snow. And they had the National Guard had to come and punch a hole through this. And we were without power for like 2 weeks and stuff. It was, I was lucky that, my in laws came and got me, because they had like a big old cook stove, and yeah, they had a cellar with food. They had everything because they were prepared.
Okay. All right. So again, has anybody changed their mind again in terms of if you were stranded with a stranger, would you leave them if they gave up, or would you stay?
I'd leave them.
Well, crazy lady, you and I, we would be walking off together because, yep, 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 yep.
I would
Let's.
try to convince them to a point, but like, look, if you're gonna die, okay, look. All right, well then that's your lot. Sorry about your luck.
Yeah, see this little piece of paper that it's a handwritten will. Just sign this before I start walking away. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So Juju, you say I would save them. So what does that mean? That you're going to stay and save them, or you're going to uh, uh, leave and send someone back? What do you mean by I would save them? Here I come to save the day. Let's see. Bobby Shamar says it was sad when people died in 9/11. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It's been over 20 years. Went by really fast.
And I haven't listened to the Howard Stern show since.
You know, I've never listened to Howard Stern ever. So,
I
did it,
listen to Howard Stern religiously every day, but the day 9/11 happened was the last day I ever listened to Howard Stern.
is it because of something he said on the radio, or you just didn't have time because of everything that was going on? Or
No, he was there when he was talking about everything being on fire, and then he literally watched the second plane hit. And I shut the radio off after he said, "We're at war. We're being attacked," and I never turned on his show ever again because it just brought back bad memories.
hmm, okay, hmm, okay.
I mean, I would come back. I mean, I would like send help, but like, yeah, I wouldn't like stay there and suffer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
If the
that's
person
what Juju says.
gave up.
I would leave and send someone to the location. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm going to send someone back, but I'm not going to stay there and more than likely die.
Well,
Um,
see, back to the Donner Party, when the people actually got out, there was people that actually went back and forth to start bringing them supplies as well, and they still just sat there while people were coming and dropping off supplies for them, and then still making it all the way back to their encampment.
and see
So
that,
that's another thing about that.
but see, and the whole Donner thing. I mean, it just when you read the entire story, it just doesn't make sense because you're right. People were coming back, giving them help, supplies. But it's like, okay, you can see I left, I came back, I'm leaving again. Why are you still sitting here?
Exactly, exactly. That's the whole weird part about it. Because I don't read so good because I got dyslexia. Like I love books and stuff, but I usually have to do audiobooks. So there's actually on Podbean you could download the audiobook of the Donner Party story, and it was told by the from the point of view of one of the girls who actually survived. I think she was like 8 or 9 when it all went down. And yeah, it's very detailed, and they get into how people were coming and going to bring them things, and they still just sat there and didn't friggin' move.
I mean, and that's crazy. Then you're going to get to the point where, because I do believe cannibalism. Say that word for me. I cannot.
Cannibalism.
Cannibalism happened. I do believe that that did happen. I do believe that they ended up just, especially when the bad weather really set in and people were not able to come back. Um, I believe that they turned on each other, and I think that that happens in a lot of cases. That there's nothing else to eat. Who is the weakest one? You prey on the weak, and that's what happens.
Another good story to look up if you have time is called The Hunt for the Mad Trapper, and it takes place in Alaska. And it was just this dude. He was up there. Something happened in the city. The sheriff showed up to whatever. He didn't want to leave his place. They tried to force him out. They left. He hunkered down. He showed up with all the cops and stuff, got in a gunfight with the cops. They were putting bombs around his place. He got half blown up, but still made it out. He had a gun in a backpack, and he still survived out in like Alaska for 3 months. He had to make his own snowshoes. He had to kill rabbits to survive. They don't know how he even survived this long. Like, he climbed mountains, half burnt. They found out he had a broken leg, and he still survived just because he had the will to survive. He didn't want to die. He didn't want them to kill him, and he kept going. Now that's real. That's real willpower.
So did he survive or?
They finally sniped him after a few months. They called in some special sharpshooter people, I believe, from the army or whatever, and something gave away his location, and they sniped him.
Okay, back up here for a moment. So the reason they did not, okay, so the reason they were after him in the first place is because he was shooting at them first.
What happened was he was in town and he got into a scuffle with somebody and he just went home. The sheriffs came to take him away and he's like, "You guys aren't taking me away."
Okay,
So then they left. They showed back up with the sheriff's department, the rangers, like sort of like a Ruby Ridge type situation.
okay,
And so he started shooting at them to keep them away because he thought they were just going to come and kill him anyways, right? So then they actually put dynamite on his house and blew his house up, but he somehow still escaped.
all this over a scuffle that was probably something minor.
Absolutely. It was so, I don't remember the specific details, but it was something so minor, it's just ridiculous.
Okay. All right. That guy says, I tried to join the military after 9/11. I got watched out because I got Hep B, was born with, and a bad heart. Okay. It got to me when I saw people on the fire, in the fire jumping from windows. Okay. When you, when you live, I'm going to read this way I think you're saying. When you live dyslexic, melons make lemonade. My dad's dyslexic. That's his joke. Okay, when you live life. Okay, I'm sorry. When you live life, dyslexic, melons make lemonade. Okay.
You want to know a funny part about dyslexia? You know those word scrambles that you get in the paper? I'm
Mm-hmm.
really good at those because I can take those scrambled letters and make them into words. Oh,
Okay.
no.
And I'm pretty sure you're coming up with words that you're coming up with words that make sense. But I mean, are you using the words that you're supposed to use, or you're just coming up with an entirely different word just with those letters?
I'm pretty proficient at scrambling letters now.
Okay. All right. Juju says the Russian soldiers were eating dogs in the Ukraine. Don't get me started on the whole dog thing. That's another story. That's another show because I love dogs. Okay. Let's see. That's stuff from World War II, ex-military. Okay, so um, Ruby Ridge didn't fire first. No, the government in Ruby Ridge fired first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they
That's what
killed
I
the
thought.
son. They
Yeah.
killed the son
Yeah,
and the dog.
Yeah.
my dad
Yeah.
lives like right across the valley from them.
Yeah. Ruby Ridge. Yeah. The government uh, fired first. So, guys, that's all I have. Thank you guys for coming. So I know who will stay and who will go, and if I'm stranded somewhere and we're together, I am leaving. I'm going to try to keep going. I will leave you if you choose not to go on. I will send back help should I make it and get help, but I am not going to sit and wait.
No, definitely not.
I'm not going to sit and wait. So, Grid, I'll start with you. Do you have any last words that you would like to impart or questions you may want to ask?
Uh, Not really. I mean, I would say to the person who decides to stay, maybe get a couple of rocks and build a help sign so they can see you, see where you are in case you got no, like, the person going off has got no ways to pinpoint your location. So build a help sign, or make your spot visible for someone to spot you.
Okay. Tuttles, you have any last words?
Yeah, if you get into pepperdom, just don't, to be honest, I never call it pepperdom or prepper or stuff until unless I'm on a few specific shows. Me and Doomsday get in fights about that all the time because, as far as I'm concerned, I don't call it prepping anymore. I just call it life because we're going through all this COVID bullshit and everything and food shortages. But don't just, buy a bunch of crap and stick it away somewhere. Use your stuff, make it a way of life, and test your grit. See what you're made of. Like, go for a hike till you're uncomfortable, and then try to make it back.
And you have a point, because when I walk my dogs every morning during the week, I do at least 5 miles, and then on the weekends I do about 8. um
Yeah,
but
that's always good to
but
push.
you are right. I mean, because you never know when you may have to start walking.
Yep. And then once you get used to that a little bit, put a backpack on, throw a single bottle of water in it. Just that little bit of weight will throw you off, trust you me. And then after you get used to that for a little bit, throw a couple bottles of water in there, and you just, you build up.
Okay, so before we go, that guy says most survival experts say stay put in place if injured.
Yes, but that's in a perfect case scenario. You're out ATVing with your family or friends. Everybody knows where you are, knows when you're supposed to be home, and stuff like that. So you know that there's a search party coming for you. You throw up a flag of whatever you can, get as much brightness as you can, and you stay put. Because a lot of times when people are hunting for you, you'll actually crisscross paths, and it'll be counterproductive. But what I was going on was a wild scenario, like a airplane crash or whatever. Nobody knows where you are. Nobody's coming to look for you. You got nothing. You're on your own, so you take care of you.
So if you have that broken leg and you're in that Donner group party,
I'm walking on a broken
I'm
leg like
walking
that.
exactly. That's what I was about to say. I'm dragging my leg behind me. I am walking on a broken leg somehow, some way. And if I have to walk with a limp for the rest of my life, I have a limp for the rest of my life.
I had a shattered patella and I still made it home.
Okay, see, that guy says people who ate each other are about. Let's see, people have have eaten each other a bunch of times in history, and I would not be surprised if they're still doing it today in some situations.
Oh, I know they
So
are, but that's a different story for a different day.
the different story, yes, different story. And I have lots of topics, y'all. So some stuff that people have been bringing up that will be a topic. I was telling Bob, we were talking about some topics to do, and I was telling Bob that for my show personally, I went through and I counted all the topics I have yet to do, because I'm constantly adding stuff. Like every day I'm like adding like 5 or 6 of things just pop into my head, and I put it down. And I have like over 200 topics, so I have a lot of topics, y'all. But tomorrow will not be my topic. Chill Will is hosting the show again. So he's doing part 2. He's going to take it part 1. Yes, last week we're going to take it. He is going to take it into a different direction. So Chill will be hosting the show tomorrow. So if you guys, please come, if you do come, to support um, Chill tomorrow. So, on that note, you guys, thank you very much for coming. Thank you guys for liking the show. Thank you, Tunnels and Grit, for popping up. And Grit, thank you so much. I'm just getting my TikTok thing going, and bless you. You're like the only person who comes and likes my stuff. So thank you very much. I am just getting it started, y'all. So y'all on TikTok, please follow me. Please like it, even if y'all don't like the video. Can y'all like it anyway? So, but anyway, so yeah, thank you. Tunnels, you want to say something?
Oh, I just want to say thanks for having me up, and once again, another kick-ass topic. Um, it'd be cool to delve into just a little bit more. Like like if you go and watch the thing on the hunt for the Mad Trapper and stuff like that, maybe you I don't know. Anyways, thank you for having me up. Another great topic. I'll just leave it there.
Well, I will say this. Jester knows that I want to do another show on prepping. So I would love for you to come back. Also, because a couple of people from the first show sent me emails, and since this whole thing with the food shortage and everything, um, people have asked, about that. So I do know
Yeah.
that it is something. I mean, me personally, I listen. I get into this whole thing. Like I said, I have 3 backpacks ready to go. I'm in earthquakes, whatever. I am ready. I am ready. And I check them every 6 months to make sure that everything's fine, because again, you just never know. If it's not an earthquake, it could be a flood. You never know. You never know what Mother Nature's going to do.
Well, see, pre-Doomsday, I used to host a podcast on here called the Pretty Good Prepper Podcast.
Okay. All right. So maybe you
Me,
should go back up.
Homeboy88 used to be like my host, and I was like the whatever person. Then he'd play a little game, Stump the Prepper, and he'd ask me scenarios or questions.
See, I'm not a game person. I'm not. When y'all start playing games, I'm like, okay, guys, thank you, but I gotta go. I'm not a game person. I like to come and hear and talk and contribute to the conversation ever. But when people start playing games on their show, I'm like, okay,
Yeah, no, it was just a brief segment near the end.
okay, all
The
right.
whole shows were like on real stuff, but then you'd play Stump the Prepper at the end, and he'd either ask the question or somebody would email us a question and see if I knew the answer to it. Like, what would you do, and what is this thing for, or how would you use this item, kind of thing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, so I am typing right now to Ninja Bunny. Thanks for coming, because she said bye, everyone, and thank you. And I am now officially signing off. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone. Go where the wind takes you, and I hope to see y'all back tomorrow with Chill. Bye. And thank you over on Facebook, Bobby Shamar. Thank you for your input and your comments. And Gareth, yes, you're number one over there too. See? Yes. Dina, thank you. Thank you for going over to YouTube. I'm sorry, not YouTube, not Facebook. Let's see. I had a couple of people over on Facebook today. Thank you. Thank you. And Twitter. Y'all over on Twitter. Thank you for that too. Frankie, I'm really liking your sign language logo. I am really liking that. Everyone, thank you so much for liking the show. And enjoy the rest of your afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Bye.